You're listening to the Firewater Review, a podcast dedicated to whiskey reviews. On today's show, we will be sharing our thoughts on Old Grandad 114. I am your host, Seth Brown. I am joined as always by my co-host, Aaron Cave. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you, Seth?
I am doing swell. Can't complain. Can't complain. It's a new week.
Yeah.
New episode.
Correct. It's been a long day, but here we are. Finally kicking back, relaxing, and having a nice little pour of Old Grandad 114.
I've got good sized pour poured in my dad's drinking bourbon Glencairn glass.
Nice. And I have myself a nice pour as well, in my Firewater Review glass. So.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, John from Dad's Drinking Bourbon was nice enough to send both of us actually a glass and a couple of samples after he and Zeke were on the show. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely give them a listen. And they have a blog. It's dadsdrinkingbourbon.com, and they're on Instagram at dadsdrinkingbourbon. I think they usually, have you ever tuned in to any of their little Sunday live shows that they do?
They go live like, 9:30?
Yeah, it's usually 9:30 on Sundays.
Yeah, Sunday night. Weren't we doing a review show recording?
Oh, yeah,
that's right. We actually listen in while we were doing the show? That was the Bernheim show, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
That was that was pretty good. That was fun, yeah.
No,
that'll be in the nightcap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're good guys. Definitely check them out if you haven't.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have them back on for sure sometime, probably pretty soon.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Old Grandad 114. It's been a while since I've had this. I'm looking forward to doing this one. Actually, just had to get the bottle out tonight and open it. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just opened it and about an hour ago, and I took a couple sips, jotted down some notes, and then I've been letting it sit, kind of air out, open up a little bit.
Yeah, this is. Speaking of opening up, this is probably one of the biggest corks on any bottle.
Oh yeah.
That's
a good one. Yeah.
Big wide mouth cork.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one that I always keep. This and Bottled and Bond. I usually keep those two in the cabinet always, because if I'm not making a little cocktail with them, both of them are good.
Oh yeah,
just on their own.
Nice pour. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I always have a Old Grandad 114. I just I haven't opened one for a while. I think I finished mine. I just we were talking about this right before the show. I thought I had a 10 bottle open limit, and I was going through what I had open, and apparently that limit has been broken for quite some time. So
look what this podcast has done to your collection.
Yeah, I've been opening stuff for this, so but yeah, it is what it is. So I was happy to grab it out and open it and revisit it. It's a good pour. I always enjoy it.
What does it cost up there by you?
Well, they're not in Ohio, so
they're not?
No. Well, actually, I was talking to the Jim Beam rep last year, and he was trying to get it into the state, and then there were all the rumors of it being discontinued, and so the person he was talking about trying to get it into the state said, well, it's going to be discontinued. You might as well not even worry about it. So he kind of cut the plug on that, and then now it's not discontinued, and I should actually contact him, see if he can get it back into the state, because it's a great pour, and I usually pick mine up in Kentucky, and it's around anywhere between $20 and $24, just depending on where you're buying it.
I feel like I'm getting gypped now. I thought I had a decent price. It was $32.99, well, so $33. And then but I've seen it as high as $38, I think, at a couple of places. I don't know.
Yeah, when the rumors were going on with it being discontinued, I just happened to be in Kentucky, and I was at one of my favorite shops down there, and they had it for, I think, $22 a bottle, and so I grabbed like 4 of them.
Wow.
Well, and then it doesn't really hurt me that it's not discontinued, because I'm like, well, I don't have to buy it for a while.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I like you said, it's always one I always have on hand as well. It's just a good everyday drinker for me.
I go between
you
this.
You can't beat the price.
No, you really can't.
That price is good. Yeah.
You really can't. That and the bottled and bond is, I think it's a little bit cheaper, I think. But yeah, I keep both of those, and you can't go wrong with either one of them. And it's funny because like I said, in keeping both of them pretty much always on hand, if I can't decide what I want to drink, those are always kind of, well, here in my office, I've kind of have an overflow, so I'm now sitting stuff on the floor, but they're always right there, kind of right in front of the cabinet. So if I can't decide what I want, I'm like, you know what, I'll just go with some 114 tonight, or I'll just go with some bottled and bond tonight. So it's always an easy go-to, and I think both of them are packed pretty well, full of flavor, especially for the price.
Oh yeah, they do a good job on this, and I'll get into it a little bit here when we do the history. So
yeah,
anything else you got?
Nope, that's it. Go ahead and hop into it.
All right, let's do it. So Old Granddad 114, it's produced by Jim Beam. It is their higher rye mash bill, thought to be somewhere between 27 and 30% rye. I've seen different mash bills out there, so I'm not 100% sure on which one it is. It's somewhere between 27 and 30% rye. Malted barley is 10%, so that leaves you with either 60 or 63% corn. So it doesn't have an age statement. I've seen anywhere between 4 and 7 years, so it's a little bit more than 4. Who really knows what it is? It was actually first bottled in 1882, and I got this information off the Beam Centauri site, so I'm guessing it's all 100% true since they're putting it on their site. But
if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Yeah, it must be true. So yeah, they stated first bottled in 1882. And during Prohibition, it was actually still being produced by a company which was called America's Medical Spirits Co. So it was one of the bourbons that were still being produced for medical purposes for all the sick people in America. So yeah,
everybody had a cold.
So this has always been, since 1882, it's been continuously distilled. It's one that did not get shut down. But after Prohibition, National Distillers picked this up, and as you know, they produced Old Granddad up till 1987 when Beam bought the brand from National Distills, and that National Distill juice is phenomenal. If you can ever get your hands on any Old Granddad from National Distills, it's butterscotch for days.
Oh yeah.
But Old Granddad was an actual distiller named Basil Hayden.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of him?
No. Who is that?
No. Oh, yeah. So I don't know, but there's a bottle named after him. That's what I know.
He just came out with a rye this year too.
Yeah. So, so he actually was an actual distiller, passed his high rye mash bill onto his son, which then passed it on to his grandson, who actually decided to name the bourbon Old Granddad. So this is all off the Beam Centauri site, so it's got to be true, as we said. But like you said, they just came out with a rye this year. There was 4 other expressions of Old Granddad, including the 114. They had the 80 proof, the 86 proof, and the bottle and bond. As we all know, the 86 proof has disappeared, and now so it's just the 80, the bottled and bond, and the 114. And then the other 2 the other one, I guess, which is the high rye mash bill space, Basil Hayden at 80 proof, and used to be 8 years, now non-age dated. So, both that's it's pretty much all I got on Old Granddad. You got anything?
No, other than that old National Distillers juice is, like you said, phenomenal. If you can get your hands on any of that, it is really something else. Really something else. I think the last bottles of National Distillers floating around were 1992. And then
92, 94, somewhere between those.
Yeah, and then it all started shifting over to Beam after that. So, but yeah, it's I have a bottle, I think from the late 80s that was given to me that was really, really good. And then I've got some older minis from my birth year, 76, that are just outstanding.
Yeah, I'm still holding on to a 80. He's an 86 old granddad, and then might be an 88 old Taylor that I got stashed away. That I'm gonna probably keep stashed for a while. But yeah, the National Distilled Juice is just really good. And man, that I tell you what, I opened an Old Crow for my birthday a couple years ago from '85. Oof, that was just
You may have sent me a sample
amazing.
of that. It was 80.
Yeah. I thought I might have actually sent you like a nice setup of samples. I think I sent you. It might have been a Sunnybrook, a Old Crow, Old Granddad, and possibly. I don't think I had the Taylor open then.
I think I got the Sunnybrook and the Old Crow.
Yeah.
I think. I think I told you to hold off on the Old Granddad because I already had some. I think.
Yeah. There might have been a Bourbon Deluxe in there somewhere.
Yes, actually there was. Yep, that's what it was. Yep. The one Old Granddad that has eluded me is the 1976 Bicentennial Decanter.
Oh.
That's the one that I have always wanted. And there was one that popped up on eBay about a year and a half ago. And I kicked myself for not pulling the trigger on it. And it ended up going for, I think, about $260. And you can't find it anywhere cheaper than really $400 nowadays.
I would love to get a Old Granddad 114 from like the 90s. But
the same guy that
can't pull the trigger on that either.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They the same guy that told me about that eBay auction actually got one of the original like the current packaging, I guess, but it was National Distillers. I don't know when it was, but it was labeled as lot 1. Wow. Legitimate lot 1, and it had like a little ribbon around the neck, and it was National Distillers 114. So yeah, it was, and he got it from one of his. It was actually, I think it came from Ohio, believe it or not, up around the Cleveland area. Anyway, Old Granddad 114. That's it, man. What else you got? Anything?
Yep. That's it. That's all I got. So I think we should maybe do a little tasting. Get down to the business.
Let's do it. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will share our notes. Welcome back, everyone. On the break, we've been sipping on a little Old Granddad 114. And keeping with the regular process of the show, I will let Aaron kick off the review portion with his notes.
All right. So right off the bat, when I nose this, I get big notes of brown sugar and caramel and a little bit of honey. And what really stands out is that rye spice really just shines through. It's, like I said earlier, it's somewhere between 27 and 30% rye, and it really shows. It's got a nice, like just toasted rye, a little bit of mince. I even get a little bit of orange peel kind of floating around in there. The cinnamon really stands out for me, and almost. Yeah, the oak isn't really strong. It's a little bit of light oak. I do catch hints of leather floating around, but maybe a little bit of cherries. But it's got a great nose. It's pretty well balanced for me. I think the kind of earthier notes kind of complement the sweeter notes pretty well with this. And on the palate, though. It's just right. That first sip is just nothing but cinnamon and pepper. It's like a hot, red hot. It's really just fiery. But the second sip, that's when you can start pulling out those flavors. It's nice sweet cinnamon, rye. Um, you really get a little bit of black pepper on there, and then some kind of the fruity notes kind of come in. I get a little bit of cherries, maybe some apricots, and then following that, I just get some caramels, vanillas. Uh, then I get hit with those toasted nuts, a little bit of oak, and I catch a little bit of mint in there, and tobacco. And on the finish, it's medium to long. It's not as long as I thought it would be for 114, but it's medium to long. But it's just red hots and toasted oak with a little bit of caramel and mint. It's for me. This is a great pour. I love it. It's solid. It's good. It's tasty, and you cannot beat the price. So for me, this is an 88.
Nice.
And I almost an 89, but I'm gonna stick with an 88. It's just, for the price, you can't. Yeah, I mean, I can't even think of a bourbon that I would pick up besides this at $24. It's just,
yeah.
If I had $24 to spend on a bourbon, it would be this all day long.
Yeah. Yeah, the price is really what puts it over the top, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say but the first half that you were going through your notes, I had the biggest grin on my face because I'm sitting here looking at my notes. I'm like, did I take a picture of this and send it to him, or because it was pretty much spot on. It's kind of fun. It's kind of funny. So with that said, I'll get into mine. For me, I think this is a pretty traditional bourbon as far as the nose goes, and even the taste and to an extent the finish. But to me, when you think of a bourbon, what it should be is kind of this to an extent. Especially one that you can pick up every day on the shelf, which is, and at that price, like you said, you really can't beat it. Can't beat it at all. But I was getting a lot of caramel, a lot of brown sugar on the nose as well. Pretty light oak, like you mentioned. I was getting some light vanilla. You mentioned honey. I was getting light vanilla and some nutmeg. So maybe the combination of those two kind of playing together kind of create a honey-esque type note. The rye spice, love that. Love it. I was getting a little bit of red and black pepper there. Citrus, you mentioned citrus as well. Really a fresh orange peel is what I was getting right there on the nose, and then some light cherries. Again, for what this is, it's a pretty complex but really well balanced nose. And then on the palate, it's medium to full bodied. It's got a little viscosity with it. Again, I was getting the rye spices, some red pepper, black pepper. Right up front, I think, right out of the gate on the palate, it packs a pretty good punch there, I think, with some of the spice, but it does kind of calm down a little bit. You mentioned the red hots. For me, that spice right there on the beginning of that palate, though, is, it's red hots. That's what it is, and that's what I had here on my notes. And like I said, I had the biggest grin when you were going through it. I was like, damn, I think we shared notes on this one. But like I said, that does settle down a little bit, and it got a little buttery towards the about midways through the palate there, and was getting a little bit kind of a cornbread taste to it. Maybe some of those corn notes coming out, that viscosity that I mentioned, kind of playing well together there. But it does get a little bit salty right before that, though, hitting the sides of my tongue really nicely. But then that quickly moves to the top of my tongue, where that spice comes out, and then all that calms down. Give it a good chew. That's when those cornbread flavors really start to come out. But then once it does settle down, is when the brown sugar and the caramel notes really start coming through on that taste. The finish, like you mentioned, it was medium to long for me as well. Starts off with some cinnamon and red pepper spice that kind of transitions relatively quickly for me into some dry oak flavors. Really kind of brings out some of those tannins in there. And then it really hits the sides of my mouth once it gets dry. I mean, it's like it just jumps from my tongue over to my cheeks. And then there was right after that, I got a nice rush of caramel, some lighter vanilla, tobacco, a little bit of leather in there. And like you, I mean, you consider the price. I mean, gosh, I mean, there's a reason I keep this in my cabinet. When I run out of a bottle, it doesn't matter, how many other bottles I have. I always go pick up another bottle of this. So I gave this one an 87, a little bit lower than you, but we're still pretty close there together.
So that's an 87.5. So that's for a $24 to $30 bourbon. That's a stellar score. So the one thing I didn't mention when I was doing the history that I wanted to, kind of slipped my mind, but they consider this a barrel-proof product at Beam. For me, I don't really consider it barrel-proof. It's a higher-proof bourbon. But when I think barrel proof, I think it comes straight from the barrel. It's non-cut. It's not filtered. Or this, I mean, I can't imagine that every single barrel is coming out at 114 proof.
Right.
So
right.
It's got to be cut with water down to 114. And I think it's a little too thin to be non-chill filtered. I've never seen anywhere where it's said it's non-chill filtered or it's not, but I would imagine it's not. I would love to see this non-chill filtered.
That's exactly what I was thinking. As much flavor as you get out of this, could you imagine the amount that you would get if it weren't cut and weren't filtered?
I would love to see this non-chill filtered. I keep hoping at some point Beam might think, well, we're doing Knob Creek picks. We're doing Jim Beam single barrel picks. Maybe we should open up our high rye mash bill to some picks as well, which would be amazing. But who knows?
One can hope.
Maybe hopefully they're listening to this and go, oh, that guy's got a good idea. But
we want rights to the first barrel.
I can only imagine. I bet you if they came out with, just think, if they came out with a old granddad single barrel, just say it's just like the Knob Creek single barrel, but or not. Let's say an old granddad 114 single barrel non-chill filtered. That would fly off the shelves.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it would be gone. I mean, they wouldn't be able to keep it in stock. Just
the regular 114 you couldn't find for a long time.
Oh, I know. So just think a single barrel at 114 proof, non-chill filtered. They wanted to make even more money. They would probably take that and just do a barrel proof at, single barrel at, whatever it comes out the barrel at. But that's just me talking, just what I like.
I like what you're saying, though.
Yeah, but
I like it a lot.
But I'm hoping for the future, something like that might happen. But I'm interested. Have you seen the rye up there by you yet?
Yeah. One of my little stores had a bottle of it. Basil Hayden itself, just the straight bourbon. To me, I've always said that if you're just getting in, and I've probably said it on this show too, but if you're just getting into drinking whiskey neat, not necessarily bourbon or whatever, but if you're getting into bourbon, you want to drink it neat, that is a great place to start because it's such a low proof, easy drinking whiskey that, I have maybe a one pour left in a bottle, and I just don't visit it that much just because it is the lower proof. But if you're just getting into it, then that's the place to start. And that's what really turned me off about the rye, was because I love rye, but I like a higher proof rye. I don't like an 80 proof rye. But that's just me. I mean, if you like lower proof and you're looking to get into rye, then there again, maybe that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I've been debating on if I'd want to pick up a bottle or not. I'm not sure. I'm sure if someone offers it to me, I might get it just to try it. And worst case scenario is my wife loves her eyes, so you know, I can let her make her drinks with it. But
Yeah. Well, and
um,
I think it was a little bit higher priced too than what the bourbon was. I
yeah,
think it was closer to
it's
60.
yeah, I think it's gonna be about 50 here in Ohio when it hits. But
And then see, you start getting
yeah,
into that. We were talking about Pikesville rye. I think it was
oh
before we
yeah,
started recording. I mean, you can get a higher proof rye for roughly the same
oh
price.
yeah, and just more that you think about it, you just go out and pick up Rittenhouse for $24. You
Yeah,
know, it's bottled in bond rye. You
yeah,
know,
makes a great cocktail. You can drink it and eat too. So, but yeah, it's like I said, I had the opportunity to buy it. And I told him I was like, as much as I mean, I had it when we were down at the New Orleans Bourbon Festival. That was about the time that they were releasing it, and I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good, but just the lower proof is not my cup of tea. I prefer it higher proof. But if you come across it and you are into lower proofs, then absolutely check it out. But yeah, I would like to see him do a barrel program on that, and I hope with the increase in popularity of barrel programs that they kind of open it up, because really, if you think about Beam, I mean, what barrel programs do they have? They have Knob Creek. What else?
and the Jim Beam single barrel.
Yeah,
That's it.
yep, that's it.
I mean, and they're huge. They're just this giant company. You know, they have so much bourbon and so much potential to do great barrel programs. And I mean, I guess the biggest place that's doing the barrel program is Buffalo Trace, because you can get, you can get your Buffalo Trace, you get your Eagle Rare, get your Old Brother Antique. If you're buying enough stuff, Elmer T. Lee, uh, Blanton's. Uh, I know Hancock for a while was kind of exclusively barrel selected for liquor barns. I don't know if that's still the case, but um, yeah, I'm probably missing something somewhere in there, uh, but yeah, they had a huge range of stuff that you can pick from, and then everyone else has just one or two. You know, Woodford used to have the double oaked and the Woodford. They cut out their double oak. Now they're just doing their Woodford, which actually isn't even a single barrel. It's a barrel. It's a blend of two barrels. Did you know that?
I think actually I did. I remember you telling me that. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. So yeah, when the Whiskey Barrel Society, when we went down and did our first, it was our first ever barrel selection. We did a Woodford, and it was
I still have a little bit of that bottle
two.
left.
Yeah, it's two barrels blended together. It's not even a traditional single barrel selection. So uh, Four Roses is neat because they have all 10 recipes that you can pick from. But yeah, I think Heaven Hill is what I know they do the Henry McKenna 10-year, Elijah Cray. I don't know if they do anything else besides that.
That's really it. And even those two, you don't see that widely
Yeah.
at all.
And I know Old Forester, you can get their Old Forester at 90 proof, get their single barrel from Old Forester. But yeah, and Turkey, you got your Kentucky Spirit and your Russells. And hopefully in the near future, maybe the Russell's Rye. But yeah, they're, I think Beams can do some great stuff. But
As many labels as they have under their umbrella. I mean, it's like Heaven
yeah,
Hill. I mean, they have a lot of labels.
yeah.
You'd think they'd open it up a little bit. I mean, you could do a heck of an Evan Williams
Oh
single barrel
yeah. Oh
store
well, they
pick.
they do Evan Williams single barrel. That's one I
Oh,
forgot.
do
Yeah,
they? Okay.
yeah. There's Evan Williams single barrel picks out there. I've picked up a couple of them here and there, and they're good. That's another great bottle just to always have on hand. It's on the lower proof side, but it's a great easy drinker, and it's just it's always good. Well, I've never had a bad bottle of it. Evan Williams single barrel. So, but yeah, I think they could do great stuff, but they just I don't know if it's marketing or if it's just someone's holding them back, or maybe it's just every time you do a single barrel, you have to create a new label. And I mean, that's, I'm sure that probably isn't cheap to come up with new labels. And so
Well, they could do it. I mean, if they kept it,
who knows?
if they kept it at 114 and just non-chilled filtered it, I mean, it'd be like Buffalo Trace. You could just stick a sticker on the front and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So if you're listening, Beam, you can make a heck of a lot of money off of old Granddad 114 barrel picks. Hop on that.
Yes.
Stat. You got 2 buyers right here.
2 buyers right now. Yeah. So, well, anything else?
That's it, man. That's a pretty good score for an everyday drinker. What was it, 87 and a half? Is that what we...
87.5. Old Granddad 114. So, if you got it in your area, go out and pick it up. It's definitely worth a try.
And if you don't have it, then find somebody that does. Have them send it to you.
And if you're not a fan of high rye or high proof bourbons, give it a shot, and you can always add water to bring it down to a lower proof to satisfy your palate. So that's the one thing I love about high proof bourbons. You can always water them down, but you can never make a bourbon at 80 proof get any hotter. So
I wish you could.
Yeah. So that's why I love the high proof stuff. I can always, if I'm not feeling 120, 130 proof, I can always add water to it to bring it down.
It's like wearing winter clothing. If you ever get hot, you can just shed some layers.
That's right. Well,
that's it, man.
Yeah.
87.5. 87.5 for Old Granddad 114. So, Aaron, where can people find you?
Well, you can always find me here on the Firewater Review and on Instagram and Twitter at Bourbon Cave. Write high proof single barrel columns for the Bourbon Zeppelin. I also write for the Sons of Winston Churchill. So check them out. Hassyburg is doing some great stuff over there on that blog. And Seth, where can people find you?
I am Seth P. Brown on Instagram and Twitter. You can, of course, find me on this show. A couple of other plugs. First, I wanted to say thank you to all the listeners, because the last couple of months we've had really good months as far as people listening to the show. We're on pace this month to exceed the prior 2 months by quite a bit, actually, at this rate. So I wanted to thank everybody for that. I really appreciate it, as does Aaron. I'm speaking for both of us here. But one thing we would appreciate is just your feedback. We really appreciate the reviews and iTunes. We'd love to hear from you guys. I mean, so if you have anything that you would want us to review or just general feedback about the show, we'd love to hear from you. But a couple other plugs that I would like to plug. I mentioned Dad's Drinking Bourbon at the beginning of the show. You mentioned Son of Winston Churchill. It's like you said, our friend Hassie Berg. That is sowchurchill.blogspot.com. And you can find that account on Instagram at Son of Winston Churchill. And as Aaron mentioned, he writes reviews for them, as do I. And one other little plug that I would like to mention here is The Luscious Life. That is the THE Luscious, LUSHUS Life. So Lush, Us, Life. And that is our friends Lisa, the Cocktail Maven Carrington, and Alicia Bourbon Sipper White. They have started their own little podcast.
Oh.
They have their first episode out. Well, actually, they're still working on their first episode. They had their little teaser that dropped yesterday, I think. Well, by the time this drops, it would have been earlier this week. I think it was Tuesday that it dropped. So they're available in iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Libsyn. So be sure to check them out. As far as our shows go, all the ABV Network shows, you can find those at abvnetwork.com. You can find all of our shows in iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. You can find this show on YouTube. There is no video, just audio. So if you're just sitting at your desk at work and want to hear about some whiskey, you can go to YouTube. So check it out. That's it. Like I said, we appreciate your feedback, your reviews, and that's all I have. So until next time, cheers.
Cheers. Later.
The Firewater Review is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers.